Okay. So, look. We've all read the chapter at this point, right? Yeah, we've all read it. We all know what happens in One Piece this week. Except for you, Larry. Yeah, Larry, you haven't even read the One Piece chapter yet. What are you doing with your life, Larry? Get off your butt and do something meaningful. Like, read One Piece, Larry. Come on. Be more like Barry. But no, like, we've all read One Piece. Okay, so we all know what goes down. I don't know, man. Like, how do we handle this? I guess, you know what? We just play it by ear. That's what we do. We just go through it, and whatever happens, happens. That's what I've been doing for years and years doing this, so I don't see any reason to stop doing that now, right? All right, here we go. This will be One Piece chapter 984 review, titled My Bible. Oh yes, the Bible. A holy book. Everybody has one that they kind of swear their life by. In fact, I have mine right here. It never really leaves my sight. Yes, of course. My Bible is, of course, precious geography. If you'll indulge me for a moment, I would like to say to you read to you a verse, one of my favorite passages. Yes, this is from the Book of Australia, chapter 5, verse 12. Paranella Park. Since childhood, baker Jose Paranella has dreamed of building a Moorish castle. In 1913, the adventurous 26-year-old left his village in Catalonia, Spain, moved to the tropical northern Australia, and he found his dream. And you can see it right there. It's a nice little castle area. It's very green castle. Yes, this is quite truly the most precious holy book. Right, so let's go over to the cover page this week. We got the continuation of Bege's Oh My Family. You got Pound there reuniting with Lola and Chiffon. And I have to admit, it's a little creepy when you just see a random old dude just hanging out on the beach that you vaguely remember. Chiffon vaguely remembers him as like the old dude that was on the beach at Totland on Cacao Island. Lola, I guess, has never met him at all. And he's just sitting there and he's like, Lola, Chiffon, I'm your pappy, I'm your dad. And so that's a little creepy, but also you gotta figure, like, you know, all the crap Pound's been through, I'm sure he's even surprised that he's still alive. I know we kind of all are. So, yeah, you just kind of cut to the chase at that point. You're just like, oh, what? My heart's still beating? How did I survive? I don't know, right, Jinbei? How the hell did he survive? But anyway, yeah, so Pound is just like, oh, well, I'm just gonna cut right to the chase. There's Lola, there's Chiffon. I have no idea what they're doing here. I don't even know how I ended up here, but I'm your dad. Let's have a family. And, you know, they're surprised by it. They're having the goo face when they see Pound announcing himself as their dad, but he has the whole story to back it up. He could tell them the whole story of how he met Big Mom and how he lived together in the kingdom with her for a little while, and then they were born, and then he got kicked out, and he's like, and then I went and I lived and I dug myself a hole and just kind of planted myself like a carrot and lived in the seducing woods for like 20 years, and no one ever even came by to say hello, you know? So he's got the story to back it up. I'm sure they'll believe him, and you know, I think this is going to lead into the finale of the Bege's Oh My Family. They still have to escape Dressrosa, but when they get away from the island, I'm thinking that they're probably going to go to a wedding ceremony. You're going to see Gaudi and Lola get married, and you probably see Pound like walking Lola down the aisle and everything, and Bege and Chiffon will be there, obviously. Vito will be wearing a tuxedo and everything. That'll be a cool little moment. Don't you agree, Jinbei? Yes, I'm sure you do. Now, do me a favor and stay on the wall, because this is like the 6th time you've fallen off, and I have to keep restarting this recording. Okay, we good? We good, Jinbei? Okay, good. Alright, so we continue with the chapter. We continue over with Ulti and Page One. So last time you had Yamato come in with the Thunder Bagura! Bam! And smacked Ulti right upside the face. Luffy did the Gear 3rd Elephant Gun uppercut. Bam! Right on Page One. So they both got dropped. Yamato scooped up Luffy and they hightailed it out of there. So we cut over to their side. They're both okay, relatively speaking. They're banged up a little bit, but it really doesn't seem to be concerning them all that much. Ulti is pissed off by being attacked, but she's even more insulted by the fact, because Ulti is like a big Kaido fangirl, so she's like, oh, how dare Yamato, that stupid brat, how dare he even utilize Lord Kaido's ultimate Thunder Bagura technique, or the Raimi Hake, right? It's the Hake, yeah. It's Thunderclap 8 trigrams and the Thunder Bagura, or Bagua in the Viz, and so she even calls it in the Viz translation, it's not a Thunder Bagua, it's a Blunder Bagua, and in the other translations, it's not the Raimi Hake, which is 8 trigrams, it's the Raimi Shike, which is the 4 trigrams, so it's like half as strong as Kaido's technique. Still, though, I would take that as a compliment, you know what I'm saying? You're half as strong as the Emperor of the Sea. see Kaido of the Beast. I'm like, you're still basically strong enough to bench press a mountain at that point. So, yeah, Yamato, I would take that as a compliment. Yamato's not around anymore, but yeah. And then they're over to Page One, and they're like, sir, Page One, are you okay? You got, like, punched right in the jaw, point blank with a giant fist. And Page One, he's now reverted to his human form. He gets back up. He's still wearing his mask, and he's like, yeah, dude almost dislocated my jaw. Ah, man, it kind of hurts, not really. It's kind of like you ever bite down really hard on a jawbreaker, and it's just, yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. So they're banged up, they're bruised, Ulti's spitting up a little bit of blood, as she's bad-mouthing Yamato's technique. Like, that technique wasn't even that strong. Coughing up blood all over the place. So it did damage them a little bit, but they also mentioned, the minions also mentioned, like, dinosaur zones, the ancient zones. They're pretty damn durable, okay? Just, like, inherently. So, I don't think anybody figured, like, Luffy's attack was going to one-hit KO Page One or anything like that, but, yeah, didn't really do all that much damage. So anyway, they immediately go after them, obviously. Page One and everyone just start rushing after Luffy. Ulti kind of follows suit, and they start chasing after Yamato and Luffy down the hallway. Because this didn't really buy them much time. I thought Ulti lost consciousness. If she did, she only lost consciousness for a couple of seconds, and now she's back to her senses, and she is mighty pissed off. So they're going after Luffy. Meanwhile, we cut over to Luffy and Yamato. Last time it seemed like Luffy was kind of chill with being just scooped up and, carried off by Yamato. He was just like, yeah, I'm okay with this. I know you're not trying to hurt me. It's just, it's weird. You just came out of nowhere. Now Luffy seems a lot more agitated by this. He's just like, hey, I can't be hanging out with you. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're taking me. You don't have any negative intentions, but I gotta go. I gotta help out my crew. I gotta go take out Kaido. That's what we're here. We're doing this whole plan. I don't know if you've heard about it. We have this really tactical plan, and I'm the mastermind behind it. I'm trying to do everything right. People keep messing it up. Freaking kid is around here running around messing everything up. I should go make sure that he's okay and he's not screwing up the plan again, right? Well, at any rate, Luffy gets really mad at Yamato, so he starts busting out Gear Third moves against Yamato, clashing with him, and just like, I gotta get going. And Yamato's like, please, I understand you're in a hurry. I know you got stuff to do. I get that. I really do, but I've been waiting for you for so long. Can you just give me a moment to explain myself? Just a little bit. Just give me like 5 seconds. I think Luffy's like, I'll give you 5 seconds. I'm like, okay, can I summarize my entire life story in 5 seconds? Well, it doesn't matter. There's people around. I want to do it privately. And Luffy's just like, I don't have time for this. And he's like clashing with Yamato. Yamato's holding up the Kanabo and like blocking the Gear Third attacks, seemingly with ease. I mean, like his hands are trembling a little bit when he does it. Luffy's doing Gear Third, bam, and he's like, oh man, you are really hard to work with, aren't you? But really doesn't seem to be all that difficult to like deflect or block those attacks, right? Oh yeah, one more thing. Yamato also mentions this reminds him of a battle that he had in the past. He's like, this reminds me of the battle from back then, or that battle from ages ago. And Luffy doesn't really have a lot of time to question, like, a battle from long ago? What are you talking about? So he rears back, and it seems like he's using the Ryuo technique, from what I can see with this panel, because he's not using the vulcanization. He's not using the black, armored skin that you usually see when you use armament hockey. It seems like the energy is coalescing around his fist, like he did when he punched that tree. So it looks like Luffy's had enough, and he's like, all right, Gear Third's not working, armament's not working, screw this. I'm using Ryuo, I'm busting through you, and I'm getting back to the plan. I have no idea where I'm even at right now, but I'm getting back to the plan. So he charges up Ryuo, goes to punch Yamato. Yamato just kind of doesn't block it this time, just kind of like has the Kanabo there on his shoulder and just kind of like whoosh, and just like dodges it, and Luffy's punch hits the ground and just like obliterates the entire hallway, like everything, like ceiling to floor has a giant hole in it and just creates this massive dust cloud, alright? Now that's good because even though they didn't know it, Ulti and Page One were hot on their backs, so they show up and everyone's looking around at this giant just complete destruction scene in the middle of a hallway, and they're like, oh, Ulti, Page One, I'm sorry, we lost them, and they're pissed off, but that's good, that gets them away for the time being. Okay, so we'll see where that goes, but for the moment it looks like Yamato and Luffy are gonna have a little bit of time to at least sit down and explain what the hell's going on here. So now we cut back over to the Golden Kagura Exhibition Hall, the Performance Hall, and the Skull Dome, the Muffin Dome, where we got Orochi. He's got Momo up back there. He's still giving his speech. I'm like, I am Lord Orochi! This is Momonosuke! I bet you're wondering what happened to him, don't you? After all, he looks the same as he did 20 years ago. Well, I got something that'll tickle you pink, everyone! Turns out, time travel's real! I know because I'm Lord Orochi! you know? And so I made fun of that last time, right? Like, you know, he's gonna explain time travel to a bunch of random samurai in the Beast Pirate crew, right? He doesn't do it last chapter, but he sure as hell does it now. Also, little side thing I just wanted to bring up. This entire time we see Queen up there when Queen was doing the dance number and everything, talking into a microphone, like a modern looking microphone. Actually turns out the microphone is actually a little pond snail. You see the little eye stalks coming out of it in a close up. I like that because I'm like, is it a modern microphone that they were using, or was it like a transponder snail, you know, kind of thing that they were using? I know it's just a minor thing, but I love little details like that when Oda includes it, right? But anyway, yeah, so Orochi's up there and he straight up talks about it. He's like, yes, it turns out Toki had the power of time travel and she flung Momo far into the future where my evil is law. That's right, I'm a coup. Everybody worship me. And so all the samurai below are, I mean, they're going along with it because it's Orochi. You know, the one guy in the crowd that was like, I don't think that makes any sense. Boom! You know, like, they're gonna get taken out. So this is a festival. It's a party. Pretty much all of them are drunk off their asses anyway. So they're just like, oh yeah, that's more Momonosuke. Time travel. Whatever you say, Orochi. Cool, yeah. But on the inside, they're actually kind of murmuring to themselves, which is like, time travel? Does he expect us to believe that bullcrap? Like, I don't know, man. It's Lord Orochi. It's a festival. Maybe he's touched into the sake jug a little bit too much. He's got to, right? I mean, damn. So they start drinking, and they're just like, yeah, there's kids all over Wano that have top knots and stuff. He probably just grabbed a poor orphan kid off of the streets and made him up to look like Momonosuke because Orochi's also paranoid. He's been going on about the Kozuki clan for like the last 20 years or whatever, about to come back and wipe him out. So, yeah, no one really believes this. And this leads into a hilarious scene where one of the members of the Beast Pirates, he kind of looks like a member, one of the guys from New Kama Land with the bunny hat he's got on, wherever I'm racking Impel down. But anyway, yeah, so he's just like, yeah, that's crazy, right? Brother, isn't that nuts that that's actually Momo? Yes, there's no way, right? And he kind of pats Jinbei on the back, and Jinbei's just like, oh yeah, that's totally right, yeah, it's nuts. So Jinbei and Robin have successfully infiltrated the banquet hall on top of a bunch of other samurai. Hyo is there. These are the guys that actually, you know, didn't cause a ruckus. They're not the ones that barged straight in, talking to you, Luffy, and you, Zoro, and I don't have a picture of Kid up here, but I'd be pointing at you too, Kid. These are the guys that were like, hey, we have a plan, novel concept, let's stick to the plan. So they all snuck in. We see a bunch of the other samurai there, like the noteworthy ones we've seen earlier in Wano. Hyo is there. They're all dressed up to look like Kaido's minions, and they're just sitting there, and they're drinking as well. Probably going a little bit lighter on the booze than other people are. They might be like drinking, like pretending to drink, because when, you know, shit gets live, it's probably best not to be super toasted. You know, just like drink a little bit and just like, you know, pour a little bit out. So you're just like, oh yeah, another one, please, barkeep, right? But this is great because you get to see Robin pretending to be drunk, pretending to be a member of the Beast Pirate crew, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm relatively aroused by this. I don't know why. Well, it's Robin. It's pretty much anything involving Robin. But Robin's there, and she's just like, he's like, yeah, you know, that's crazy. That can't be Momo, you know? You should bring him down off the stage so we can gouge his eyes out up and personal, right? You know? And so Robin's trying to, like, act like that. Now, that's actually a smart idea, because what she's trying to do is get Orochi to bring Momo down to the crowd, so she could probably use her Hana to, like, grab him and they can get him out of there, right? So it's actually kind of a smart move on Robin, but it's so freaking, she's got the glasses on and she's just like, yeah, you know? And I'm like, okay. I also still love that Jinbei's all dressed up in the Kaido Beast Pirate BDSM gear and everything. He's got some wicked cool sunglasses. I don't know where he found those, but he's chilling out there, but he still has the symbol of the Sun Pirates branded right there on his chest. And the only thing, and like, he has some straps kind of covering it up, but it doesn't cover it up well, all right? And if these guys weren't all wicked toasty right now, they'd be able to look at that and be like, hey, isn't that the Jolly Roger of the Sun Pirates? What the hell are you? You know, like, you'd be able to figure this out pretty quickly, but in this particular instance, no one's really noticing. But yeah, Robin is kind of whispering over to Jinbei like, boss, what do we do? How do we get him out of there? And Jinbei's like, I know, Robin, I know you want to grab him. I know you want to get out of here with him and make sure he's safe. But, all these samurais have infiltrated the hall. I think the best thing to probably do right now is just to play this by ear, and wait till the samurai to make their move. And when the samurai make their move, then we make our move, and we make a beeline for Momo, and we get him away. So I like this because if Luffy or Zoro were part of this crowd, as soon as Momo was found out up there, what would they do? They would immediately jump over other people's heads and just dive on top of the stage to get him back. Probably not the best thing to do right now because that's basically announcing to everybody, hey, there's enemies in this hall, So even though Robin and Jinbei really want to go rescue him, same thing with Hyo and everybody, they're all clenching their fists, all white-knuckling, like, they can't really do anything. And in fact, they have to do the opposite. They have to pretend to be laughing and be merry and be like, oh, Orochi, good one, yeah, more booze, more grog. Oh, we're gonna kill him after this is over. We're gonna get you, Momo. Don't worry, we're gonna save you. Glug, 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 glug. Yeah, another one. Yeah, they gotta pretend to be happy and merry, because if they're all pissed off in the crowd, like, that kind of gives it away, right? So they're doing it the way that they have to do it, right? So now we cut over to the backside of Muffin Mountain, where the Polar Tang, Law's submarine, has finally reached its destination. Okay, so they arrived to the back of Onigashima, where the entrance to Kaido's mansion proper is located. Normally, you can't access this point because of all the torrential tides and the whirlpools around Onigashima, but because Law has an awesome submarine, he can just avoid that. However, he mentions, he's like, all right, well, while we're underwater, we're going to be okay, but the second that we break, on top of the sea, we're going to get swept up in these typhoons and these whirlpools and stuff, so essentially, this has to be quick. We're only going to have one shot at this, basically. Pop out, open the hatch, room shambles you onto the shore, and then I immediately have to dive down. Now, Law is also planning on making landfall. I don't think Law is just going to spend the entire time, circling around Onigashima, but, this is the main goal, to drop off the 9 red Scabbards right here at this location, okay? So, we have a moment with that. Everyone gets kind of intense, Kiku, Raizo, Inuarashi, Kawamatsu, Ashura Doji, they're all there. It's just like, all right, we're ready for battle. Let's do this. Let's avenge Odin. And so we get a cool double-page spread where the Polar Tang breaks the waves. Shambles. Okay, close the hatch, Beppo. Dive. Operation Scabbard drop-off successful. Operation Sheathing the Sword in the Scabbard has been successful. Captain, that's not really that great of a clever, plan. I mean, we could have come up with something better. Stop it, Beppo! This is my moment. So, Law succeeds, and they kind of travel away in the submarine, and I'm sure they're going to dock somewhere else, and they're going to get on shore, and the Heart Pirates are going to join the rebellion in some other way or form. Or, Law is a tactician as well. Law might be like, how about we be like the rear guard here? How about we if everything goes completely belly up here, and both sides, like Denjiro's side and Kinemon's side, just get completely wiped out, or it looks like they can get wiped out, and the 9 red Scabbards, we can have like a extra unit over here, and I could use my room and my shambles to basically teleport people around. That would actually be a smart thing to do. Like, imagine if Law got into the exhibition hall where everybody's in there, and he hid himself somewhere, like right in the center, and he could open up a room, and he could just move everyone around in that freaking hall. He could just open up a giant room in that exhibition hall, shambles, and just make a typhoon of human body parts, like what he did at Sabodi, essentially. So he might try to do something like that. I'm not really sure, but that's all we get from Law in this chapter. So he drops them off there, and much like how it was talked about earlier, the entrance to Onigashima is in winter. They arrive, and of course it's snow. So it wasn't snowing at the front of the island, but it's snowing in the back of the island where Kaido's manor is. We see a long staircase going up at the side of the mountain, where we see a torii gate, and beyond the torii gate there's like a big, pagoda kind of structure, and then off to the left there's another structure. Law hyposits that, okay, there's 2 entrances to Kaido's castle. One of them, the higher up one, he bets his life that one probably leads directly to Kaido. So maybe Law is gonna circle back around and then go up that way. I'm not really sure what Law is planning on doing here, right? But enough of that. They don't really get a lot of time to survey their surroundings, or which entrance they're going to take, if they're gonna split up or whatever, because the second that Raizo and Inuarashi and Kiku and everybody arrive on the island, boom, Nekomamushi just falls out of the sky. He just falls down. Marco's there. He's using his Phoenix Fruit to fly around, and so he dropped off Neko, as well as with Izo. That's right! Izo has arrived! Also confirmed that Izo was the other member we saw kind of in shadow. He just has a different kimono on. So all of the Scabbards, this is the first time they saw Izo, and actually, even for the ones that time travel, they still haven't seen him in a while, because Izo traveled with Whitebeard and never came back to Wano after that. He just stayed on Whitebeard's crew. So even Kawamatsu and Kawamatsu and Kiku and Raizo that traveled through time, it's still been several years since even they have seen Izo, and Nekomamushi even longer than that, and Inuarashi as well. They all comment, like, Kawamatsu is the first time he's seen Neko in so many years. He's like, oh, Nekomamushi, you've gotten so big, kappa, kappa, kappa. But of course, the main draw here is, actually not even Izo. The main draw here is that Nekomamushi now has a Gatling gun arm. That's the main draw here. When I saw that panel, I was like, oh yeah, Izo, that's great. We already knew he was here. Oh, look, he has a scar on his face now. That's awesome. Look at Nekomamushi, he's got the freaking Gatling gun arm. That's awesome, right? Inuarashi, you need to take a cue from that. You need to get like a Gatling gun leg or something like that, right? Man, now you just need to think of like a cat-based pun whenever you take out that gun, you know? Like, like, okay, Nekomamushi's going up against an enemy, he's going up against Jack or somebody, Jack and, fighting against Neko and Inu, and then they beat him down, and then like the last words, Jack looks up and he's all bloody and broken, and like, this is retribution for what you did to Zoe, and Jack's like, oh, I'm sorry, and Nekomamushi just walks up and just licks his paw and I hate Mondays. Cue now! Just obliterates Jack. We need to do that! Yeah, but okay, so Nekomamushi has a Gatling arm, that's cool. And then also Izo's there. Izo has the scar now. I'm assuming that happened during the Payback War. They mentioned that Marco knew where Izo was located, so Neko and Marco, I guess they stopped by to pick him up really quick. Must be a location that might be actually near Wano. Maybe he was on one of the islands around Wano, not being into the country itself because he didn't want to get captured or found out, or he wanted to stay close until the 20 years were up, maybe. He was like, alright, I'm not going to go back to Wano right away. Maybe I'm going to stay on one of the outlying islands, and then I'll be right there, maybe, and then when 20 years happens, then I can get onto the island and I can see what's going on. But it's great, it's so cool, because Izo, during the war at Marineford, he was just like a background character. We didn't even really focus on him that much. We had more stuff going on in freaking Marineford, but here he is, standing tall as like a member of the Nine Red Scabbards, Kanjuro's replacement, and he is like, main character now for the purposes of this arc. We already saw him, of course, in the Odin flashback, but still, this is pretty cool to see him here, right? So Izo shows up, Kiku obviously starts crying like, big brother! And Izo's like, oh, Kiku, you've become a splendid samurai. And Kiku's like, I love you, big brother, I miss you. It's like, it's okay. So they all get together, they're gonna have probably a little bit of a reunion, but they really gotta get going, they're right here at the entrance to Kaido's manor. Oh, and Marco says he'll be right back. He's actually going out because he spotted a shadow moving in the sea. He's actually gonna go and see what that's about and deal with that. Dollars to candy canes. That's gonna be Parasparrow. Oh, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be great. All right, picture it now, all right? Parasparrow starts getting kind of close to Onigashima. He probably will have to go in through the main entrance because the rest of it is the tides, and I don't think that candy sea slug will be able to survive those rip tides, right? So he's probably gonna have to go right into the center, and then right when he's accessing Onigashima on that sea slug, he's like, what's going on here? And then Marco's just like, hey, I thought I told you to stay down. It's like, wait, oh no, not you again! Just knocks him off the sea slug, he lands in the water. I was like, okay, well, that was what that was about. Now I'm gonna go help out my other men, I guess. Phoenix powers away! And he just flies away to the other side of Onigashima. That's gonna be the whole running gag, I will not be happy until Parasparrow gets dropped into the water no less than 6 times in this arc. We've only had 2 so far, so we're a quarter of the way there. Third of the way there. I know math. We'll get there. All right. So Izo's part of the crew. That's awesome. Now we got back to the exhibition hall. We get to see the man himself, the myth, the legend. We get to see Kaido there with his calamities, Jack, Queen, and King, along with Orochi on the execution stand. And so what happens is this. Kaido is like, where's freaking Lin at? And, what was this person's name? I always forget it. It's Bao Huang. Yeah, Bao Huang was the flying squirrel gifter. That's like Kaido's personal secretary. Shows up and is actually kind of coy with Kaido. He's like, tee-hee, sorry, Kaido-sama, I forgot. She's on her way right now. He's like, you should have told me that earlier. Whatever. Like, Bao Huang was kind of giving some attitude to Kaido, but Kaido didn't really seem to care. He's like, well, Yeah, she's a little sassy, I suppose, but she's a damn good secretary, so whatever. Anyway, yeah, so Linlin's on her way? Alright, cool. Well, I guess I'll give the speech while Orochi's, doing this boring freaking execution. So he walks on stage, and even all the other members of the Beast Pirates kind of hush up when freaking Kaido takes the stand, because they all acknowledge him as their, unquestionable boss. He is the leader of the Beast Pirates, he is the viceroy, he is the commander, the king of the beasts. He's Kaido, right? But the mood completely changes when Kaido enters the room. He starts stepping in, his theme music cues up in the background, like, da-na-na-na, na-na-na-na, and everyone's like, okay, alright, we're just gonna shut up now. He's here. So he walks out, he's got the Calamities with him, Orochi's there, and he's like, alright, I'm gonna liven up this execution a bit here. Now, everyone pay attention, because I'm only gonna say this once. I'm gonna explain the new Onigashima project. And everyone's just shouting like, yeah! And then that's all we get from that scene. So, yeah. Big Mom has not quite arrived yet, and he wanted to give this announcement with Big Mom and Yamato present, but I guess Kaido basically just gave up on that. He's like, alright, Big Mom's on her way, I've waited long enough for her, and Yamato, I don't know where he's at, screw it, I don't think the Toby Ropo are good for anything, alright, whatever, you know what? I'm freaking Kaido, I'll give the damn announcement. We have no idea what the announcement is yet. The new Onigashima project, okay, I'm apparently really good at theories this past week, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. Kaido is gonna throw out a plan to transform Onigashima, all of the Muffin Mountain, all of the Skull Mountain, into a giant mobile robotic crab. And he's going to try to conquer Marijois, climb up the red line with this robotic skull spider crab thing, and then get to the top and then invade Marijois with the full force of the Beast Pirate and the Big Mom crew. I just really, really want the robot crab to happen. And I think this is the most likely event. But yeah, I have no idea what the announcement will be. We'll just have to wait to find out, right? But now we get to the last part of the chapter. And this is my favorite part of the chapter, personally. Alright, so now we cut over to a random attic. I guess when Luffy, punched the floor in the ceiling, Yamato kind of grabbed him, hurried up, and, rushed to the top of the ceiling into the keep. And so they're in the attic, they're alone, and I guess Luffy finally relents. Luffy's finally like, okay, whatever, I can't be wasting my energy fighting you all day, and you're pretty strong, so whatever, okay, you got 5 minutes. 5 minutes for your story, go ahead, I'm all ears. And freaking Yamato is just like, oh, okay, so I told my father once I really like Kozuki Oden and then he beat me up for it. That's the first thing Yamato says, and Luffy's just like, okay, sorry for your father troubles? What does this have to do with me? He's like, oh, no, you don't understand. I was there 20 years ago. I witnessed the execution, the Hour of Legends. I witnessed that, and never a samurai, never a man you saw that was more magnificent than Kozuki Oden. He was the most manly man of all men right there, and that inspired me. I wanted to follow in his footsteps. Nay, I wanted to become Kozuki Oden. So then I went to the Curry region, and I discovered my holy book, my Bible. Sorry, Jinbei, I don't have time for you right now. And it was Odin's logbook. I've been keeping it all these years. Kaido nor Orochi know nothing about this, but I read it all the time. All the magnificent adventures that Odin got into, it's all written right here. But now, with the Scabbards dead, someone must carry on his will, and I'm going to be that person. And at that point, Yamato takes off his mask, which I was right about that. The mask was actually part of the we saw he had a goatee. The goatee was part of the mask. Takes off the Hanya mask, tosses it down, rips off part of the sleeves of his outfit, kind of readjusts some things, and bada bing, bada boom, Yamato has boobs. So there we go. We have Yamato actually is biologically female, just at the moment, not identifying as a man, no, identifying as Kozuki Oden. There's different categories there, Oden is his own classification, right? So, Luffy is of course very surprised by this, well, relatively surprised by this. Luffy's not like, what? Luffy's seen, crazier stuff than this, but he's just like, oh, wait, I thought you said you were his son, though. And so, yeah, Yamato's perspective on this is pretty simple. He's just just like, yeah, well, Kozuki Oden was a man, so I wanted to be a man too. And I'm also doing the Oden cosplay. I got the official Oden shackles. I got these on Etsy. You know, someone made these. I made the kimono myself. Do you like it? You know, I got the giant rope thing on the back there. You know, I got the mask and everything. Yeah, I don't think if Oden ever wore a mask, but I have the mask now. So yeah, Yamato is a big Oden fan and just wanted to dress like him. So, yeah, go for it. And the end of the chapter is Yamato also saying to Luffy, you know, you remind me a lot of Ace. End of the chapter. And we get the little title box that's like, Yamato, daughter of Kaido, self-styled Kozuki Oden. And that's Yamato there. Okay, so, wow, yeah, I ended up getting a lot of that right. The Hanya mask I guessed because the Hanya masks are typically worn by females in Japanese plays. And I'm like, okay, well, I could definitely see Oden going down that road with it, because we kind of already did that with Kiku this arc. So I could see them doing that. And, you know, he went down that road with it. So that makes sense, the Hanya mask being worn by a female. In this case, Yamato is biologically female. The logbook. Not in the review last week, but I made the video afterwards where I mentioned, like, you know what? That freaking logbook is going to be relevant. And I was even saying this back when I was doing the reviews of those chapters of the Oden flashback. I'm like, there's a reason Oden... I mean, there's a reason Oda is doing the Oden flashback, you know, in that narrative of that framing device of being read from Oden's logbook, okay? He could have just had Oden narrate it normally, or he could have had just the normal One Piece narrator come on and narrate it, but no. Specifically, we have Oden writing down all of his adventures in a book, and then all of the stuff in the flashback is from the book, right? From Oden's perspective. So... The reason, the difference between that and Oden just narrating it normally is because you are now creating a physical object in the land of One Piece, in Wano, that has all of that information from the flashback we read. That's all in the damn book now. Where is this object? Where is this book? And I'm like, man, I wonder if, I didn't know exactly if Yamato was like witness Kaido execute Oden firsthand, or if Yamato just learned about it later and like heard the story from the people of Wano and got really interested in it and then started going around Curry. So Yamato was definitely present. From the age, I'm gonna go with, honestly, between the ages of like 25 to 30. I don't see Yamato being much older than 30 years old. Probably honestly close to Hiyori and Momo's ages. Momo's like, you know, chronologically he would be like 28 right now. Hiyori is 26. Something around there, which would put Yamato around maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years old during the execution of Oden. So in that case, Yamato witnessed it. I even, by the way, I went back to those chapters with the legendary hour with Oden in the pot. I went back to those chapters and kind of looked all throughout the crowd trying to find someone that resembles Yamato. I mean, there may be somewhere in the crowd, but there was a lot of people in the crowd there. Nobody specifically, though. It's not like Oda focused on a panel of like, that's Yamato right there at age 6 or whatever. We don't really get that. So, so Yamato was there witnessing Oden's execution, fell in love with the guy and the legend, came out to, you know, I was like, Dad, I want to be Kozuki Oden when I grow up, you know? And apparently Kaido took umbrage with that and, like, clobbered Yamato for it. Although, keep in mind this thing, even though Yamato and Kaido are not on the same page when it comes to, like, what they want to do, because Yamato even mentions here, you know, I want to open up this country. I want to follow in not Orochi's, oh god, I want to follow in Oden's legacy. I want to open up Wano, and I want to help you out to do that, right? So that's Yamato's plan. Obviously, that's different from Kaido's plan. However, Kaido still respects Yamato enough to call, you know, him his son rather than his daughter. So it's like Yamato comes out and says, you know, I'm going to identify as a man from now on. I am Kozuki Oden because, you know, he was a man. I'm going to be a man too, father. And Kaido rolled with it, and he's like, well, I don't approve of you wanting to be Kozuki Oden, but I will call you my son out of just respect for that. Thank you, father. And so that's how that goes, you know, because you think if Kaido had no respect for Yamato whatsoever, you think he would just be like, you know, where's my daughter at? Get her over here. And then, you know, Yamato is like, actually, I identify as a man. You know, it's a little bit different from Kiku's situation, because Kiku's situation is, you know, it's like, oh, I'm a woman at heart. In this case, it really does seem more than you're just you're idolizing someone to the point that you want to be exactly like them, and in this case, that person was a man, so you're identifying as a man too. So a little bit different than Kiku's situation, but yeah, there's something I brought up there. Also, I wonder how many people in the Beast Pirates, because they all called Yamato Kaido's son, so I'm wondering if they even know about what's really going on here. Like, Kaido would definitely know, but what about Who's Who and Sasaki and everybody? Would they also know? Because I'm assuming Yamato walks around the keep usually dressed in the Hanya mask and the big bulky kimono and, you know, the sleeves and the shackles and everything, and that's how normally you see Yamato. So, and he's addressing himself as a man, like Boku and everything. So in that situation, you would just, oh yeah, that's Kaido's son, Yamato. So yeah, I'm not really sure how many people really know about this, but Luffy certainly does now. And something else that I kept getting like comments about this, like Yamato might have a connection to Ace because Ace went to Wano too at one point. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And I never really had a chance to bring it up. It got brought up here. So yeah, Ace came to Wano years ago. You know, he died 2 years ago, and he started his pirate adventure 5 years ago from the present storyline. So somewhere probably between 1 or 2 years after he started being a pirate, he probably went to Wano. That's when he met Tama, learned how to make the casa hats and everything of that nature there. Something I always was a little bit confused by, because when Ace was in Wano, that was when he was a part of the Spade crew. That was before he joined up with Whitebeard. That was when he was on the Spade crew, right? So that means that Ace was at Wano, got to know everything that was going on with Orochi and Kaido. I mean, if you go to Wano and you met Tama, you have to know what's going on here, right? Like, what's going on with this country. And then afterwards, Ace leaves Wano, joins up with Whitebeard's crew. And does Ace never mention this to Kaido? I mean, never mention this to Whitebeard? Like, oh yeah, you know, Kaido rules over Wano or whatever, and Whitebeard never brought up, like, oh yeah, the former commander of the 2nd Division that you head up was Odin, and he was from Wano, and his country was being ravaged. So it's still a few more questions I would like to be explained. Also, yeah, wait a second. Didn't Marco say that he didn't know about Odin because news doesn't travel outside of Wano? But didn't Ace go to Wano at one point? Maybe Ace never learned about Odin, but he's a national hero. I'm assuming somebody probably would have told him about it. Maybe Tenguyama, maybe Tama was pretty young at that point, but I don't know. I don't really know how this is going. But at any rate, it doesn't matter. We're going to have a flashback coming up here now, probably, where Yamato is going to explain his connection to Ace, and we're going to learn about all that stuff going on, and that's going to be crazy, and Luffy's going to be really interested in that. I think Luffy's probably going to be interested in Yamato's story for longer than just 5 minutes, all right, because, you know, he brought up Ace now, and so he's like, okay, here we go. Well, yeah, so, yeah, I don't have much else to say about that because I've kind of already said it in the videos I made previously, but if we're going on a theory roll, then the giant metal crab Onigashima muffin mobile fortress, let's do that, right? Let's do that. All right, well, hope you guys enjoyed. It is mighty hot in this room, so I'm going to get going now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thunder Bagua!